Hi, and a very big welcome to all our attendees out there. I'm really excited about this morning, as I always am when it comes to the webinars and our events, now in the physical world as well as the virtual world. So for me, I'm very passionate about this discussion this morning. I know how it is important for a business owner and, of course, the business that they own all around financial wellness. So I'm really looking forward to it. But guys, please tell us where you're all from. It's always nice to see, we've had guests from as far as San Francisco and right down towards Sydney and throughout Africa. But of course, 99% of our attendees are from the beautiful country of ours, South Africa. So guys, where are you from? Tell us what you're expecting this morning. And of course, around financial wellness, do you check your credit reports? Do you know what funders are looking for? We know what funders are looking for. Your ability to repay the loan, and of course your credit report. And I think a lot of business owners out there don't get that right. And if this morning we can really encourage and show you exactly what you need to do to become funding ready, then I think we've achieved a great objective. And there's no finer person who could share that knowledge than Jaco van Jaarsveldt, of course, from Experian this morning. But I'm not going to welcome him yet, because before we do anything, guys, the format this morning is quite simple. We're going to watch a very short video. I'm very excited about the video. I've seen it for the first time. It goes on national television from tomorrow, the big national marketing campaign. And I just want to say to Jaco and Experian, and of course the Chief Executive, Ferdy, for partnering with the NSBC on this amazing initiative. We're truly grateful for that. And guys, it's an amazing video. But so we'll take a look at the video, then I'll bring on Jaco, and then we'll go through an amazing discussion. And of course, any questions that you've got, please pop them onto the chat box on the right there. And we do know that the chat box often works at a pace of frenzy. So if we can't get to your questions, we will get to them after that. But guys, stay with us, watch the video, and I'll see you shortly. Thank you very much.
My name is Jaco van Jaarsveldt. I'm the founder and group managing director of Modern Centric Holdings. The main function of Modern Centric is actually unothering the othered, the marginalized communities, the LGBTIP+ community. We look at how can they be included in the economy of this country. So it's actually really, really exciting because we are working for a cause. As a business owner, it's very important to understand you need credit. So there's institutions like Experian that does such beautiful things.
Experian is a global financial data company, and we provide businesses across 80 countries with data tools and analytic services. We as Experian believe that key to the recovery of the South African economy will be small and medium enterprises. And because SMEs are so important for us, we partnered with the National Small Business Chamber. It just created an ideal platform for us to take this education drive of ours to SMEs in a very formalized way.
We're hoping to achieve with the NSBC Experian partnership and the How to Be Financially Fit campaign is really to ensure that every single business owner out there understands exactly what they need to do to improve their financial health and to have better credit scores.
Winning the NSBC National Entrepreneur Champion has really opened up a lot of doors for me. I'm still laughing about it, because I thought I did not win. When they actually called my name, the office was just buzzing. It was noisy, the bell was ringing. It was beautiful.
At the React Group, we're a group of companies within the construction industry. I have an extreme passion for what I do. My aim is always to change the narrative, to have representation of women in the industry. As a business owner, you need to know what your finances look like. Your credit score is one of the biggest tools to gain access to funding. And that's why interacting with an agency like Experian is vital. They give you your report. They'll advise you what you need to do to get your score rating up. So an agency like Experian is extremely important. Being an NSBC member has helped our business tremendously. They understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. I was extremely elated to have won the NSBC award. I cannot tell you what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to be recognized amongst your peers.
The only way that we're going to change the future of South Africa is by getting people formally into the economy. Riza Babiyele is the longest standing relationship that we have had with a NGO community-based organization. They actually take the youth and train them to become entrepreneurs.
The Riza Babiyele program really transformed our business in a massive way. They helped us build our brand. We are looking at solving the unemployment problem, not through creating employment, but through creating entrepreneurs. Our current product is known as Macmore Muffins. My business focuses on making franchising accessible for people who previously were unable to own a franchise. What we focus on doing is giving them a business in a box. We put them in a business enabling environment and we give them all those tools, including their uniform, the trolley, which is branded for them to go sell. So for me, it's really a calling. I want to grow Macmore International into a global business which doesn't only form franchises for wealthy people, forms franchises for everyone.
Our ambition is actually focused on creating financial inclusion across the African continent, and fundamentally important for us is the education. Experian developed a free consumer app in order to start that educational process. The name of the app is Up, and it's to up your credit experience, up your financial journey. So it's 100% focused on improvement and on upskilling yourself.
My advice for people who want to start businesses in South Africa is follow your passion, know your purpose, and it will pay off.
Starting a business is, I want to change my life, but in the process, I first have to change a lot of people's lives. It needs to really be purpose-driven.
My advice for small businesses is keep on knocking, be innovative, and never, ever give up. It doesn't matter how many times you fail, but it matters how many times you get up.
Well done, Experian. That's an amazing video. I look forward to this campaign rolling out around the country. We're really excited, as I said before, to be part of this. For me, I'm personally extremely passionate about financial wellness. It's just about everything for a small business and the business owner who runs the business. But let me not talk too much on my own. I'd like to welcome Jaco van Jaarsveldt. Jaco is the head of Commercial Strategy and Innovation Africa for Experian. And today my discussion with Jaco is going to be around managing your financial health and why is it so important. Jaco, amazing video. Thank you for joining once again. Truly grateful.
Thanks, Mike, and a pleasure to be here. And thanks for letting us join you and your tremendous audience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and collectively, Jaco, we both know, both organizations, how important our initiative, how to become financially fit, has been an amazing campaign over many months now, and we've changed the lives of many. We know that. We've seen the feedback from the market, and we will continue to do that because of the importance behind that. And I mean, we know what the funders out there require. We know that they require that credit report. They require also affordability analysis, you know, and I think we need to convey that ongoing to business owners around there so that they can become financially ready to access funding. So, Jaco, I've got a couple of cool questions here this morning I'd like to put forward to you. And as I've asked the audience out there, Gerard, thank you. And it's an honor having you on board. Really kind comment, Gerard. Thank you for joining us. And please tell us where you're from. Tell us what questions that you might have based on our discussion. And, you know, as I said to you before, if we can get to these questions, we will answer them. But I know that if we don't, Jaco will assist me with providing the answers after this webinar. Now, Jaco, we always hear, and if you don't mind me to my attendees, I've got a couple of questions. They're very spontaneous. They're hot off the press. So I have to just refer to these notes because they are important. We always hear how important financial wellness or financial fitness is to SMEs and consumers alike. but never start with the understanding of what the definition of financial wellness is. Jaco, can you define this for us?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And I think it's important. It's a very important starting point to define what financial wellness is. And I always compare it to the wellness of a human being, right? So we all know we want to be mentally well, we want to be in a good position, we want to be stable as human beings. And there's very many factors that impacts on us, because all about us feeling good and in control of where we are and where we want to be as human beings. A number of aspects, and I would like to use an analogy between financial wellness and physical wellness. So if we want to become physically fit, we know exactly what to do. We either go to gym, we go run, we do whatever we need to do. We know what the objectives are and what the intention, what the key things are we need to do to get to that final objective. What financial wellness means is exactly that. What do I need to know and understand from a financial perspective to let me achieve my financial objectives? And my financial objectives as a consumer or a small business is broader than just, can I afford something and what does my budget look like? Budget is a component, a very key component of it. But the entire financial wellness is that feeling of empowerment that I know exactly where I stand financially, whether it is from my day-to-day expenses or whether it is my ability to get access to funding to grow my business, or as a consumer to go and buy that new car or buy that new house. And the entire objective of what Experian is doing through our direct-to-consumer app is to empower the consumer with the knowledge to engage in that conversation with a financial institution, whether it is to get a personal loan or whether it is through yourselves and in partner with yourselves to get access to that additional funding, to walk into that conversation with the bank in a position of power, knowing exactly what that financial institution is going to expect of you as a consumer when they assess you to determine whether you're going to qualify for that loan or that loan for a vehicle or a house or the additional funding to grow your business. So our intention with this app, from a consumer, we're starting with a consumer app, which we'll share with everyone in the audience in your app, and hopefully you download it and start this journey. So from a consumer perspective is to say, there's two pillars that a financial institution will look at when they grant you, when they decide whether they grant you credit, in order for you to achieve your financial objectives, which is, as I said, to acquire assets or get a new loan, etc. They're going to look at whether you can afford it. You touched on it earlier. Affordability is fundamentally important. Income minus expenses tells you how much money you have available to pay on additional funding. Whether you're a small business, a consumer, doesn't matter. You do your income minus expenses, you look at how much you have available, and that number will dictate whether you can afford another a loan or an additional extension or additional funding from a growth of your business perspective. The second component is all financial institutions will look at you and your performance from a credit or from a bureau perspective. Now, that bureau information, that bureau report and bureau score that you referred to earlier, all that is, it's a picture of you as a consumer or a business that is collated through Experian, and we receive it from all credit providers. So every single credit provider or telco or insurance company out there or retailer that provide credit provides us info that we consolidate, and we look at that information and put it and reflect it back to you as a consumer or a business in terms of your credit report. That information on the credit report is then simplified in a credit score. That credit score is then used in part in conjunction with your affordability calculation to very quickly determine, can Jaco or can Mike afford this loan? Should we give additional funding to grow the business? They clearly got cash flow and they're in good standing. And this picture of you as a business or a consumer is a good picture. And very quickly that loan is then granted. It's a position where you know who you are, you know you're going to afford it, you know you're standing from a credit perspective, you know your score, you're empowered, you feel far more empowered to have that conversation because you are 90% sure of the outcome when you engage with a financial institution. And that to me is financial wellness, that empowerment to know I can afford it, I know what my bureau report looks like, I know what my bureau score is, and I know that these two together is a very strong value proposition for any financial institution to provide me the funding that I require to achieve my financial objectives.
Well, Jaco, I love that analogy between physical and, of course, financial wellness. It's a good point. Now, Jaco, knowing what the parts of the magic puzzle is now, how do we as SMEs and consumers take control of these?
You physically go and take so you've got control of your budget, right? You know how much money you earn, you know how much money you spend, and you know how much money you have available for additional loans or additional funding from a small business perspective. The one component that very few consumers today know is the second component. I know that my credit bureau record reflects exactly who I am, which are my telephone numbers, do I have which accounts I have, how I pay the accounts. So an exact, accurate snapshot of who you are, number one. And number two, how does that translate into a score that's used by financial institutions? And that's the second piece of the puzzle that consumers don't know and they don't have access to, or they don't know and they don't use. And that is what we're doing through our application that we've now made available for free to all consumers as of this week. You can literally register and you'll get free access to your bureau report. And that bureau report is fundamentally important for every consumer and every business to in detail go through that report. Are all your address details, are they correct? Are your telephone numbers correct? Are you a director of a company? And is the company that you listed on as a director a company that you truly are a director of? Etc., etc. So all that information is in detail unpacked in that bureau report. And the first step is get that bureau report, go look at it as a consumer and as a small business. But right now we launched the consumer app, so I'm referring to that. Go look at that bureau report and make sure that all that information is absolutely accurate. And the reason that that is critical, Mike, is that is the information that's used by financial institutions to assess you as an individual. They compare what's on that bureau report to your ID documents when you provide and you apply for credit. They compare who you are to what's on that report. And if those two line up perfectly, the first box is ticked. The second box they then look at is how do you conduct your financial affairs? As an example, every single month, all credit institutions in South Africa will submit records of how you pay your accounts. So let's use an example. I have a credit card with ABSA. Every single month, ABSA submits a full view of my credit card for the last 24 months. And they give it to the bureau, and we track and we consolidate your ABSA accounts and all other accounts you have. And we put it on your bureau report where we show how you've been paying those bureau reports. Do you have any judgments? Are there any adverse information? Has there been any fraud on your profile, etc., etc.? And all that is collated and kept for a period of between 3 and 5 years. And that data is then translated into a single metric, which is your Experian score. And that Experian score is then used in making that decision to say, yes, Mike can afford it. Yes, he has a good score. There you go. We will grant Mike additional funding.
Mm-hmm. And Jaco, as we must all know, you're talking about the consumer, but as business owners, we are consumers. So when a business owner is seeking funding, they look at you as the consumer and your business. So a really important beginning, and truly excited about that app, Jaco. I know it's going to make a massive difference in the market out there. Now, Jaco, where is one place where all our financial commitments and exposures are summarized for us to start taking control?
Yeah, and that is, as I explained to you, Mike, that is the bureau report, right? So step one, get your bureau report. And the easiest way to do it is register on the app that we're going to share with everyone today, because that gives you immediate access. And once you've registered, it goes and looks at you give permission to go get your bureau information, and it gives you free of charge. Here's your bureau record. Here is a budget facility for you to calculate, to do a budget update every single month. Mm-hmm. It then does it for you automatically, and it keeps the information, and then it gives you access to your bureau report for you to validate whether all the information is accurate. And then those two pieces of information, as a consumer and as a small business, you know exactly these are the pillars that's looked at from a lender perspective. And if you know that those are, I've got a very good bureau score because my bureau report is accurate and I can afford it, that, as I mentioned in the beginning, that level of financial wellness that the financial knowledge that you then have takes away the fear, takes away the unknown in that conversation. And that's fundamentally important. The moment you know the answer before you pose the question, you are in a fundamentally different world from a financial well-being perspective.
Okay. Just for all our attendees out there, I know that our team will shortly run that information across the screen on how to access the app, of course. And then, of course, so are you saying that we should make it our #1 objective to get hold of, review, and fully understand our Experian credit report?
Absolutely. And again, we keep coming back to what empowers me from a financial perspective that gives me that feeling of financial well-being. There's the important components is I need money, and I need enough money to fund or to manage my expenses or to look after my family. Absolutely. Budgeting and the use of that funding is fundamentally important. However, we all long for more. Whether it's growing our business, whether it's growing our personal wealth, whether it's getting that house, getting that car, expanding on our business footprint by opening more branches, etc., etc. In order to get that, you need to understand what the other side of the fence is going to look at when they decide to give it to you. And I come back to the comment I made. Know the answer to the question before you pose the question. And the answer to the question is, I can afford it, and I know I've got a very accurate, very good bureau report that is an accurate reflection of whom I am or who my business is, and I know my bureau score puts me in the top echelon of the consumers, which will result in me qualifying for a loan. And the flip side is also true, Mike, and it's also fundamentally important to understand that once you get this bureau report and you get that bureau score as a consumer, and you're not in the top end, and you're unlikely to qualify for a loan, you will be informed that this is not going to get you to where you want to be from. When you engage in that question, it's going to be a difficult conversation with the funder. But here's some tips to fix it. Do A, B, C, D, and E, and up your score, and you track it every month. And as that score increases, and your standing from a personal perspective improves, and you see that score improve, the moment it gets into the world of now you are in good financial standing and a credit or a financial institution will lend you money, now you go pose that question. So it helps you prepare for that conversation before you have that conversation. And as you said, whether you're a consumer or whether you're an SME, doesn't matter. It starts with you as a consumer. If you manage your personal finances well, you will manage your business finances well. And the two work together, because if a small business applies for, look at you as a consumer. So it starts with it to say, Mike and Jaco are good people and their business therefore looks like this, but let's go look at Mike and Jaco first. Great scores, great financial, they look after themselves, they understand who they are. And we actually had a conversation with people who we launched the app to yesterday, and the feedback from the one lady was fantastic. She said, I just applied for a credit card, and when I sat down with a bank, they said to me, let's have a look. And she said, don't worry, I'll tell you, my score is this. This is what my affordability looks like. They started the application. They looked at it and they said, how did you know this? She said, because I used the app and I knew what the answer was before I asked the question.
Good point. Now, I'm getting a lot of WhatsApps coming through, Jaco, on the side here. And quite a few is, I don't know if this is a fair question, what is an exceptional credit score?
It's different for different organizations, right? And at the risk of getting too technical, when you get the app and you download the app, there'll be categories: very good, good, medium, not so great. And those scores that we put it in a category for you is an estimation of where you will fit in when you apply for credit, right? Now, if you go apply for credit at a retailer will accept people at a lower score than a bank will accept for a home loan. And it's simply, a home loan is a huge asset, a huge financial layout for the bank. They provide the funding. When they provide the funding, they typically only start generating profit off the back of that loan after 6 to 8 years. So the first 6 to 8 years, they're literally out of cash. Where a retailer, and therefore they're very picky, and they take, your score has to be significantly higher for a home loan, where a retailer will take more risk because they fund some of the risk through their additional margin. And to that point, and it's a very good question, how do the majority of people in South Africa start their financial journeys? And again, I had a great conversation with a millennial yesterday. I think he's on the border of millennial and Gen Y. And their understanding of credit is fundamentally different than their engagement with it. And our platform is we engage with everybody. And if you use the app, you can engage with it to understand whether you're at the start of your journey or at the end of your journey. Let's use it effectively. But everybody wants to know, and they want to know the answer before they ask the question. So effectively, what people start with historically in South Africa is 4 out of 10 consumers started their financial journey with a retail store card in South Africa. And then of those 4 people that started, 8 out of 10, 80% of them moved on to banking products and secured lending products. And that is a fundamentally important thing. Where do you start your financial journey? And why is it important to start it with a small limit, manage it effectively? And therefore, it's important to say, if I'm going to start the journey as a student that just finished university and it's my first job, I need to start the journey and start building up this credit score. And that loan every single month immediately starts generating that score for you. And that score then puts you in a position to say, the better my score, the more I can afford, the bigger loans and the more secured assets, and I can start the business because I can prove that I'm a good credit risk. So it's very, very important to look at, how do I build the score? How do I go about it? But needless to say, never lend when you don't need it. Don't go and take money for things that's not important for you. But the tool basically says to you, once you've got these 2 critical pieces of information, you know the answer before the question is asked.
Yeah, like I always say, if you buy the things you don't need, you'll soon be selling the things that you need. So the point is that it's imperative, and of course we know, and I know you'll probably come to it, is that, borrow for the right reason. Don't borrow for short-term credit to pay monthly day-to-day expenses. So that's an imperative point. And, and we get a lot of people, business owners, you're borrowing for the completely wrong reason. So borrow for the right reason. Borrow to grow your business. Equipment funding. You need to buy that printing machine so you can grow your turnover by 25%. So we need to understand the reasoning behind borrowing money, and don't fund day-to-day expenses and short-term credit, because it can cause problems in time.
And then, Mike, just on that, I mean, you touched on it brilliantly there. We've now, as Experian, developed this app that's targeted at the consumer, but extremely exciting with yourselves and the team. We are going to jointly get together and say, how do we take what we've built for a consumer and we create something similar for the SME? And once we've done that, we're going to make the exact same capabilities available to the SME that provides the necessary tools to effectively understand and to effectively put your picture together, answer together before you go ask the question. Gives you one place to put your financial statements in that looks at your financial statements and builds a track record from a financial statement perspective. That shows how you manage your creditors and debtors. That shows how you manage your business. That shows how your investments have generated return on investments that generated the profits. And we help put that packet together. We help put the pillars together to then connect the SME with the funders. But when that connection happens, it's from a position of power. We would like to grow our business and therefore need the following funding. And here is the answer to the question you're going to ask me. And that's what we'll be doing. And we're absolutely excited building this with you and the team, Mike.
Well, and I know we're coming through to your head office this afternoon to discuss this, and it's going to be a breakthrough. We know collectively how important this is. Not consumer, definitely, but on the other side as well, equally, that SME environment. So we're truly excited, Jaco. Thank you for that. Explain how affordability is calculated and how it is used when lending institutions make decisions.
Yeah, and it's important, right? So from a regulatory perspective, there's a need from the National Credit Regulator's perspective to calculate the affordability of a consumer. And let's focus on the consumer for now, because it's significantly heavily regulated. So when you apply for credit, there's always a thing where it says, what's your income, what's your expenses? And you can physically go capture it and put it in, and then that's submitted to the credit provider. But what the credit provider then wants from you as a consumer is They need 3 months bank statements, or they need 3 months pay slips, as we all know. And now suddenly it becomes a painful process, because you have to go get those statements, or you have to get the pay slips, you have to fax it through, and then they validate it, because the regulator will check whether it's validated or not. So affordability, the way that institutions calculate it, is on absolute numbers that you provide them, and they check it against your statements over a period of a minimum of 3 months to make sure that the data that you provided them is accurate. And only then can you pass that affordability assessment. So affordability is fundamentally critical, but painful as a consumer or as a small business. What we're trying to achieve through this app also is to give you that budget facility and say, right, every month, whether you're applying for credit or not, go and capture a budget. It's good because you understand how much you're spending on things, how much you earn, how much you're spending on things, and that budget facility is then calculated every month, and we keep a snapshot of it every month, and we build up to 24 months worth of history. So once you get to the point where you apply for credit, that information is passed in data format, validated to the credit provider as well, with the 3 months bank statements that's required. So we take out that painful process of having to submit documentation by, number one, making sure that you as consumer, and in future, the solution that we're going to build, that we're going to create with yourselves and build a solution for the SMEs, give the capability to, on a monthly basis, update, submit documentation, or go access the data from your bank accounts and pre-populate your income statement, your balance sheet, your cash flow statements, etc. Go populate it, validate it, and keep it. So the day that you qualify, that you apply, and you have the answers, you don't only have the answer to the question, you have all the necessary documentation to immediately pass on to the credit provider. So once you get to the credit provider, you don't only know the answer to the question, you've got all the documentation ready to go. Here you go, over to you. How long is it going to take for you to give me this money, please?
No, and as you say, quick and easy, and taking all that pain away, I just think it's amazing. And I think you're 100% right. I always know, in a lot of our surveys, there's two things that business owners hate to do. Making payments, and of course, administration. And taking that pain away is certainly going to alleviate that issue. But thank you for that, Jaco. So it's as simple as that. All consumers and SMEs need to take control of two things: my affordability through effective and ongoing budgeting, and managing my credit optimally.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Sorry, that's spot on. That's spot on. It's as simple as that. And what we're trying to achieve is, here's the tools to do it. You don't have to go look for it. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to go find it. Register once, create the link on your phone, and every single month, just go in, and if you decide to update your budget, update your budget. If you decide, you'll get your credit score for free. There's significantly detailed education components in there. So there's 17 education modules that starts from introduction to finances, what a credit report is, how to do budgeting, and how to start the SME. We've got SME education in there as well. And then that educates and supports knowledge and insights. And when we develop this, remember, it's not just the credit active or existing SMEs. It's people that's entering the market. When we played the video of when you shared the video of Riza Babiyile, we meet with new micro entrepreneurs all the time, and they just need the tools. And you touched on it, Mike. Our conversation this afternoon, I think step one is going to be, right, how do we take the pain of administration away from SMEs to simplify their lives? And that's probably one of the very first things we'll put into our future SME app that we'll jointly develop with you, as to how do we simplify administration? How do we simplify the tax components of what you need to do from an administration perspective? Are there partners out there that we can partner with, that we can use this data that you give us on a monthly basis to automatically create your tax returns in the back end that you just validate and submit? So there's so many things that we can do for SMEs to simplify and let them purely focus on building their businesses and generating employment, because ultimately that's what we're trying to achieve. Sure. We're not going to change the future of this country if we don't do it through SMEs. And successful SMEs creates employment, and by doing that, we achieve the Experian objective in South Africa. We've got an ambition to create a more inclusive economy for everybody, and a more inclusive financial economy. And the only way we do that is empowering consumers and SMEs alike through taking out the complexity and helping them create the content that gives them the answer to the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the very essence of how we exist at the NSBC, is to boost the small business sector for the purpose of alleviating unemployment and driving job creation within that sector. And as you said, it's the mainstay of our economy, it's the future of our country, and for most countries around the world, the small business is what's going to drive the nation, whatever nation that may be. So it's an important point. Now, Jaco, let's zero in on that app. Experian has developed an application that provides consumers a one-stop shop where they can access all the required training needed to understand each aspect and more in detail, access their bureau report and score, and also do their budgeting. Now, I know we've touched on that, but let's just bring some clarity. Is that correct, Jaco?
That's correct. That's correct. So you'll see in the chat, to access the app, it's literally a progressive web application. So what that means is you don't have to go download it from the App Store. It's not an app that was developed that you need to get via an app store that uses a lot of data. Remember, we developed this app for everybody and people. And when we started the development of the app, one of the things that we got feedback on was, when you develop apps of this nature, it updates in the background and it uses my data. And we went, we're not going to do that. It's literally an app that is actually a website, but it looks like an app when you access it. So whether you're on your phone, whether you're on a laptop, doesn't matter. It looks exactly the same. So it functions exactly like a normal app, but it doesn't use any of the amount of data in the back end, none whatsoever. It doesn't update. You don't need to update it. You download it once, connect the link, and that's it. Every time you register, you access the app. As Experian, and we are extremely focused on protecting consumers' data, right? So we will never, ever give access to, or the only people that can ever access your data, Mike, is you. So when you register, we make 100% sure this is Mike registering. We will validate one telephone number that you give us, that this is Mike. We'll validate that telephone number to the credit bureau to see that this telephone number actually sits on Mike's bureau report, is Mike's telephone number, and this one-time PIN is sent to this telephone number that Mike then registers. So when Mike gets onto the app, you have access to all the educational components, as I mentioned, and you have access to all the functionality like your bureau score, like your bureau report, etc. But the one fundamentally important thing is when you access that bureau report, we're going to ask you questions that sits on your bureau report that only you know before we give you access. So not anybody can access your bureau report or your bureau score. We will make 100% sure that when we ask those questions that we have on the bureau about Mike, that we'll say, Mike, you are the CEO of Experian. You go, no, I'm not, because you're clearly not. You're the CEO of NSBC. Yeah, great. You own a house you live next door to ABC. No, I don't. I live next door to XYZ. Or my address is this. It's a stupid example there. My address is this when it's not. And you say yes or no. But we ask you specific questions. And once you answer those questions correctly, only then do we make this information available to you. Because we protect your data and we protect your identity 100%. That only you can register. The moment we register, we link your device that you registered through to your profile. A great example of this is if someone else tries to register on your profile and that device is not linked to you, we will ask you the question, is this a new device? Please go through the entire application process again to make sure that we protect you and we protect all your information at all the time. Our next versions of the app, which is coming in the next few months, we will physically, proactively let you know as a consumer that your data is being used in a credit application via push notification. So for free, we'll say to you that your data is being used in a credit application. If it is you, it's fine. If it's not you, you have the ability to go, this is not me, contact the credit bureau. Credit bureau can push to the credit provider and say, this is not Mike applying because he's not applying, someone is using. So we protect your information on a broader front to make sure that when you use the app, we use it to your benefit and to your advantage. We protect your information. So we're not only helping you answer the question, we're helping you to protect your data and protect your information.
Jaco, absolutely. Just from my side and from the NSBC team, This is a great tool that we not should use, we should all have to use. And we're going to make it available to all our members and to over 4 million employees within our SME base, because I know it's going to make a positive difference to everyone out there. And we're certainly asking you, our attendees, to take advantage. There's absolutely no financial agenda to Experian or to NSBC on this. There's no financial agenda, and that's why we're excited about that. There's no cost to you out there. It's going to make a positive difference to the lives of you and your family. So please, guys, please access. And also, you've seen the web address. Go to the NSBC website, nsbc.africa. You'll see a top tab there, initiatives. You'll see how to become financially fit. All the information around the Experian initiative is there. So please have a look at that and give us the feedback. Pop us the feedback to either Experian or to us at the NSBC on how it is, and maybe suggestions for the future. And we will keep you up to speed on the development of the SME platform that I'm truly excited to go and see Jaco this afternoon with our team to discuss this further. But Jaco, your time is truly grateful for your time today. Thank you to you personally and to Experian as an organization that we have high regard for. You make a big difference out there. And I just thank you for your time this morning, and we'll catch up a bit later. So thank you so much, Jaco. And to all our attendees out there, without you guys, we can't do what we do. So thank you for joining us. Stay close to us. We've got big things happening coming up soon. And don't leave us quite yet. There's an exciting video popping up, a very short video. Don't lose out. Don't miss this one. But Jaco, all the very best to you, and take good care of yourself.
Thank you very much, Mike, and look forward to seeing you this afternoon.
Great.
Up your game with Experian's free credit information and education app. Up by Experian gives you a credit budgeting and learning experience to help you take control of your financial health. Step up and take control of your finances. With Up's budgeting tool, you can set up your first budget along with tips to help you. Up pulls in your bureau data and keeps a record so you can compare each month's budget as you progress. Improve your credit score to get a thumbs up. Your credit score is the single most important financial score you'll ever get. On Up, it takes less than a minute to get your credit score. To better understand and improve your score, we have top tips to help you. Learn to build up your credit report and improve your finances. Enhance your knowledge about your credit, money, and personal information with infographics, articles, podcasts, and videos written by experienced experts. Upscale yourself in a simple and fun way. Managing money and credit can be confusing, but Up is here to help. Brush up your financial understanding by exploring our Gelazar courses for free. Once you've set up your profile, you're in control to manage your profile and preferences as you need. And because security is everything in our digital age, Up uses the latest in security technology to ensure your information is secure. We're upping our game by developing an app to help you better control your credit and money. So, step up and sign up for free to Up by Experian at www.app.experian.co.za. Brought to you by Experian. Experian South Africa Pty Ltd is a registered credit bureau with the National Credit Regulator in terms of the National Credit Act. Registration number NCR CB16.